Hi, I'm Zach. In this video I'm going to explain what GüD Haul is, why it's been my obsession for over a decade, and I'm going to redraw the logo. Hello and welcome. My name is Zach. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator from Austin, Texas, and this is my quick, dirty introduction to my fantasy art project that I call GüD Haul. Today I'm drawing a new logo treatment because I wanted an option with a more organic, sketchbook-like quality. It's not replacing the logo you see me tracing over here. It's just an additional item that I want to have at the ready. So what is GüD Haul? Well, it's a few things, but it's one big, broad idea, mostly. First, it's a continued collection of fantasy art projects that I've been making since 2014. Right now it's a system-agnostic fantasy setting and series of gaming accessories. It's been my main creative obsession for over a decade now. Like I said, as far back as I can think, I can put a date on this to being around 2014. For as long as I've been running D&D games, I've been drawing weird little things that to include at the table for my players, which is not an uncommon thing for many of us. For Christmas in 2014, I made a bunch of loot cards for my players, and each card had a special magical weapon based on their characters. I did illustrations in the front and stats and flavor text on the back of the cards. We were still playing 4th edition, and 5th edition had only barely started to come out. So for my table, flavor text was everything. I had wanted to start moving my illustration work in a more focused direction, and I had had so much fun making those trading cards that I started sketching more fantasy weapons and coming up with a lore for each one. I was tabling at comic conventions still in those days, and I had planned to make a series of trading cards in a little blister pack, all handmade, and start selling them at my shows. But then, after a series of bad shows back to back, it kind of soured me on conventions, and I quit doing them for good. But I was still drawing all these little fantasy doodles, and making card designs, and writing down lore, and I was still running D&D games, so I was still using these things, and I was just doing it because I was enjoying doing it. That was really the start of it. I called it GüD Haul because the idea of finding a treasure hoard with odd magical items is always a good haul to be rewarded with, and I chose that spelling because I liked the idea of using D20s as umlauts. I just kept returning to these little drawings off and on over the years. I would do the Swordtember challenges, and then I would bank all those drawings, and I just kept drawing weird little fantasy things, creatures, monsters, magic items. I like the escapism of high fantasy, and I'm also a little slut for anachronism, so I would start drawing modern things in fantasy ways. One of my favorite ones is a vending machine for magic items, but we'll do more on those in future videos. And I just kept saving all of these drawings into a folder called GüD Haul. Then in 2023, I had a major health scare, and that was almost the end. And out of it, I healed and came away with a sense of renewed clarity and purpose, and I just wanted to make things again, and I wanted to make the time to do things that I'd been putting on the back burner for so long. So I started compiling drawings and notes and lore from all the games I'd run over the years and all of these illustrations. I wanted to try to make a zine, and I thought, what would I want as a DM? I want a little book with enough lore and detail to plant my own seeds in. I want starter items and starter places, and I want roll charts. And that's the basis for these books. I've had the first volume done for about a year now. I've been selling them at tables with my partner, and I'm inching closer to finishing my second book. So here I am, making zines and other little art projects about my weird fantasy world, And I want to make these videos to share that lore, to share my creative process, and to document the process for myself. Sometimes I feel like between my day jobs, I don't get as much time as I'd like to put into this project. So this also gives me something to look back on and say, hey man, you're doing it. In the next video, I'll introduce you to the world and to our man on the ground, a friendly halfling wizard named Derek. I hope you join me in this little journey. Thank you for hanging out, and what are you working on? Tell me in the comments. Until next time.